All right, today we're going to dive into the core ideas of one of the most useful books out there on self-improvement, Atomic Habits. We're going to break down exactly why the absolute smallest changes you make can actually lead to the biggest, most remarkable results of your life. You know, it's a question we've all asked ourselves, right? You set a big goal, you feel that massive surge of motivation, you lay out the perfect plan, and then nothing. You quit. But what if the problem isn't you? What if the system you've been losing is actually designed to fail? We have all been here. Let's imagine someone, we'll call them Alex. Alex wants to make a really serious change. And this time, it feels different. The motivation is sky high, the plan looks foolproof, and that goal, it feels totally within reach. Alex is already feeling that little buzz of progress before the real work has even started. But motivation is a fickle friend. It's fantastic for getting you off the starting line, but it has this sneaky habit of just vanishing when the actual work begins. That perfect moment Alex was waiting for, it never shows up. And pretty soon, tomorrow becomes next Monday, which turns into next month. Alex is just left feeling stuck, wondering why on earth it's so much harder to keep going than it was to start. And this right here is the motivation trap. The real problem isn't a lack of ambition or willpower. It's that we rely on motivation, an emotional state that is, by its very nature, completely unreliable, to solve a problem it was just never meant to fix. So what is the real problem then? Well, it's something much deeper, much quieter, and way more powerful. While Alex is out here saying, I want to exercise, there's this hidden identity inside that's calmly whispering, yeah, but I'm not a fitness person. And guess what? That quiet internal identity, it almost always wins. This brings us to what might be the most powerful idea in this entire framework, identity-based habits. The core idea is this: true lasting change doesn't happen from the outside in by chasing some result. It happens from the inside out by changing who you fundamentally believe you are. So here's how the two approaches stack up. Most of us start with an outcome. I want to lose 20 pounds. But an identity-based approach starts with who you want to become. I am a healthy person. The goal isn't just to run a marathon, it's to become a runner. It's a really subtle shift in language, I know, but it triggers a massive shift in your mindset. So how do you change your identity? Well, it's not with wishful thinking. It's with proof, with evidence. You prove it to yourself with small wins. Every single time you go for a run, it doesn't matter how short, you are casting a vote for the identity of, I am a runner. The goal here isn't to be perfect. It's just to cast more votes for the new you than you do for the old you. And this is where the math gets really, really exciting. If you cast those little votes with tiny, consistent actions, you unleash the most powerful force in self-improvement there is: compounding. Let's take a look at the power of getting just 1% better every single day. So if you improve by just 1% every day for a year, you don't just end up 365% better. Oh no. Because of the power of compounding, you end up nearly 37 times better. Think about that for a second. It's literally like compound interest for your life, where these almost invisible daily efforts build into something absolutely massive. And this dynamic works both ways. Small daily improvements, they lead to staggering growth over time. But a 1% decline each day, like eating poorly or skipping a workout, it compounds just as powerfully in the other direction, leading to a really sharp decline. Your daily trajectory, no matter how small it feels, is what determines your final destination. Okay, but here's the catch, and it's the very reason most people quit. Progress is not a straight line. There's this period called the Valley of Disappointment, where you are putting in the work, but the results just aren't visible yet. It feels like you're going nowhere, and this is exactly where motivation packs its bags and leaves. The ice cube analogy makes this crystal clear. Imagine an ice cube sitting in a room. At 29 degrees, 30, even 31 degrees, nothing seems to be happening. You might feel like all your effort is totally wasted. But then you hit 32 degrees, and bam, a breakthrough. The ice starts to melt. So, was the change just that one single degree? Of course not. All the work you did before was being stored as latent potential, just waiting for that moment to be unlocked. So, once you've decided on the identity you want and you understand the incredible power of compounding, you need a practical system. You need a way to engineer your habits so you can cast those votes consistently. And that is where the 4 laws of behavior change come in. This is basically the operating manual for your habits. You can think of these 4 laws as simple levers you can pull to make good habits feel inevitable and bad habits feel nearly impossible. Let's break them down really quick. The first 2 laws are all about getting started. To make a habit obvious, you design your environment so the cues for your good habits are right there in front of you. Then you make it attractive. You do this by pairing it with something you already enjoy, like you only get to listen to your favorite podcast while you're on a run. Now, this is one of the most powerful mindset shifts in this entire framework. It's not about achieving some huge outcome right away. It's about building the identity of someone who is consistent. And the absolute best way to do that is to make it ridiculously easy to just start. So the final 2 laws are all about following through. Third, you make it easy. The goal is to shrink your habit down until it is impossible to say no. This is called the 2-minute rule. You want to read more? Don't commit to a chapter, just start by reading 1 page. And finally, make it satisfying. Our brains love immediate rewards. Something as simple as putting a big X on a calendar gives you that little hit of satisfaction, that visual proof that you cast another vote for your new identity. All of these ideas, they all build up to one ultimate principle that just ties everything together. Your commitment shouldn't be to a goal, it should be to a process. Let's just compare the 2. Goals are all about a temporary result. Systems are about the daily process. Here's the thing. Winners and losers often have the exact same goals. What separates them is their system. A goal-focused person is only happy once they cross the finish line. A system-focused person gets to find satisfaction every single day in the process itself. And this is the core takeaway. It's probably the most important sentence in the entire framework. Your ambition, your big dreams, your goals, they don't determine your success. Your success is determined by the systems you have in place for when that motivation inevitably disappears. So all of this leads to one final, simple question. Real change isn't about some massive, heroic effort. It's about the slow accumulation of tiny, almost invisible actions. It's about becoming reliable, not just motivated. So the only question left is this. What tiny, consistent action will you take to cast a vote for the person you want to become today? What will your 1% be?